The Senate will come to order. I ask everyone to please rise and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In the absence of clergy, let us bow our heads in a moment of silent reflection or prayer. Reading of the Journal.
In Senate, Friday, March 20th, 2026, the Senate met pursuant to adjournment. The Journal of Thursday, March 19th, 2026 was read and approved. On motion, the Senate adjourned.
Without objection, the Journal stands approved as read. Presentation of petitions, messages from the Assembly, messages from the Governor, reports of standing committees, reports of select committees, communications and reports from state officers, motions and resolutions. Senator Gianaris.
Good afternoon, Mr. President.
Good afternoon.
I wish to call up the following bills which were recalled from the Assembly and are now at the desk. Senate Bills 1327 and Senate Bill 8440.
Secretary will read.
Calendar number 137, Senate Print 1327 by Senator Parker, an act to amend the Public Service Law. Calendar number 252, Senate Print 8440 by Senator Fahey, an act to amend the Highway Law.
Move to reconsider the vote by which these bills were passed.
Secretary will call the roll on reconsideration.
Adabo, Gianaris Kruger, Stewart-Cousins, Zellner, ayes 60.
The bill is restored to its place on the third reading calendar.
I offer the following amendments.
The amendments are received.
On behalf of Senator Sepulveda, on page 21, I offer the following amendments to Calendar 493, Senate Print 5280, and ask that said bill retain its place on the third reading calendar.
The amendments are received, and the bill will retain its place on the third reading calendar. Senator Gianaris.
There's a privileged resolution at the desk, Resolution 1758. Please take that up, read its title, and recognize Senator Scarcella-Spanton.
Secretary will read.
Resolution 1758 by Senator Scarcella-Spanton, honoring Staff Sergeant Michael H. Ollis posthumously upon receiving the Congressional Medal of Honor and his induction into the Hall of Heroes.
Senator Scarcella-Spanton.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today, it is a privilege to honor the life and memory of Staff Sergeant Michael Ollis, a true American hero, a proud Staten Islander, and a dedicated member of the United States Army. Michael Ollis grew up on Staten Island in a tight-knit community where service, sacrifice, and strong character are deeply valued. These principles shaped his life and guided him in his service to our nation. He served with distinction in the United States Army, joining the 10th Mountain Division, 2nd Battalion, 22nd Infantry Regiment, Bushmaster Company in Fort Drum, where he exemplified the highest values of duty, courage, and selflessness. On August 28, 2013, while stationed at a forward operating base in Ghazni in Afghanistan, Staff Sergeant Ollis displayed extraordinary heroism. When a suicide bomber threatened the lives of others, he placed himself between the bomber and a fellow soldier, Polish officer Lieutenant Karol Sierpiza. We talked about the pronunciation earlier. He made the ultimate sacrifice that day. For his valor, Michael was posthumously recognized with numerous awards, including the Purple Heart, Bronze Star, Audie Murphy Medallion, and the Polish Armed Forces Gold Medal, and the Distinguished Service Cross, which was ultimately upgraded to the Medal of Honor earlier this month. Today, I would also like to recognize and welcome his parents, Linda and Bob Ollis, and of course their dog Neville, who received the Congressional Medal of Honor on his behalf and who have joined us in our state's capitol today. Would you please rise just so they could see you? Linda and Bob are here today. Their strength, love, and tireless advocacy ensured that Michael's heroism would be recognized at the highest level. Their son's story is a reflection of the pride and spirit of Staten Island. He was a true son of our community, and his courage and selflessness continue to inspire neighbors, veterans, and all New Yorkers alike. On a personal note, I have known the Ollises for some time, way before I was ever elected into office, and I have always been inspired by the journey that they've gone on, making sure that their son's legacy was never forgotten, not for 1 second. Their son, Michael, attended the same school that my children attend today. Just 2 years ago, a wing of that school was dedicated to his honor, and a statue stands proudly there, a daily reminder to young people of what courage and selflessness look like. I also had the privilege at that ceremony of meeting Lieutenant Sherpiza and his family, including his young son, Michael, who was named after Staff Sergeant Ollis, the man who saved his father's life. I would also like to recognize the broader community and all those who supported this recognition over the years, from veterans organizations to elected officials and the people of Staten Island who kept his story alive. As a Staten Islander and chair of the Veterans Committee, I could not be more proud. Staff Sergeant Ollis's bravery, his sacrifice, and his unwavering commitment to his fellow soldiers and our nation serve as a lasting example of what the very best America has. Staff Sergeant Michael Ollis, a soldier, a Staten Islander, and a hero, will forever remain in our hearts and in the history of New York and the United States. To Mr. and Mrs. Ollis, it is truly an honor to stand here to remember Michael today, after seeing your journey over the last several years. On behalf of New York State, it is my privilege to congratulate the Ollis family on a hard-fought journey to make sure he received the Medal of Honor. And I thank you for sharing your son's legacy, and I'm proud that my children attend the school that he did, and they get to see his face every day. I proudly vote aye. Thank you.
Senator Helming on the resolution.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Scarcella-Stanton, for bringing this forward. Mr. and Mrs. Ollis, you don't know me. My name is Pam Helming. I represent the Finger Lakes region. We have something in common. Your son, my son-in-law, they did pre-ranger training together. They served in Afghanistan together. I apologize. I didn't know you were going to be here today. But from my family and from all of us here, I extend to you my deepest condolences and appreciation for your son's incredible service. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Senator Scarcella-Stanton. I would also like to acknowledge that we are all eternally indebted to your son's sacrifice. And we welcome you with nothing but deep gratitude and love in our hearts. And we do so with a profound sense of responsibility that we serve in a way that reflects the integrity and the character of all those who serve. And with that, we recognize you and honor the life of your son. Let us all stand and do so. The question is on the resolution. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Senator Janaris.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let's move on to previously adopted Resolution 1733 by Senator Hinchey. Let's have its title read and recognize Senator Hinchey, please.
Secretary will read.
Resolution 1733 by Senator Hinchey, commending New York maple producers upon the occasion of hosting the annual Maple Weekends on March 21st through 22nd, 2026, and March 28th through 29th, 2026.
Senator Hinchey.
I've never met anyone who doesn't like maple, Mr. President, and we are right now in the middle of Maple Weekends. One of New York's proudest and time-honored agricultural traditions is maple production, led by family-run businesses that have passed their craft down through generations. What began in 1995 as a single day, Maple Sunday, has grown into something much bigger to celebrate the harvest and to connect with the public and local producers. This year marks the 31st anniversary of Maple Weekend, and it now spans 4 days across 2 weekends. New York is home to over 2,000 maple producers, and we have more family farms making maple syrup than any other state. That's incredibly special because it means when you visit a site, you're often watching many generations working side by side. Their work has made New York the second largest maple producer in the country and a major driver of our economy. In 2025 alone, maple production hit 829,000 gallons. And we hold the distinction of having the largest number of tappable maple trees in the United States. This year, over 160 New York farms are opening their doors for Maple Weekend, and I can tell you from experience that it's an extraordinary opportunity. I visited Platte Clove Maple Creek in Saugerties this weekend, and it was a wonderful tour where we're able to pick up local products. Depending on where you go, you can get a behind-the-scenes look at both traditional and modern methods of boiling sap into syrup, watch live tree chapping demonstrations, and arguably the best part is sampling the products. In Saugerties at Platte Creek Maple Farm, we were able to see the trees that were tapped, taste the products, and get a first-hand look at how that sap becomes the syrup products that we were tasting. There are some incredible events happening all across the state, both this past weekend and the weekend we're going into. Several in my district include Maple Leaf Sugaring in Ghent, Sukup Farms in Dover Plains, New Beginnings Farmstead in Kingston, and Corey's Sugar Shack in Highland. I encourage all of our colleagues to go check out one of these incredible farms that they are opening their doors over this weekend. And I encourage everyone to try their products and make sure when you buy maple syrup that it is from a New York farm. I'm proud to sponsor this resolution, Mr. President, and happy annual Maple Weekends.
Thank you, Senator Hinchey. Senator Borrello on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too want to rise to celebrate Maple and celebrate the Maple Weekends. And I also stand as the proud representative of Wyoming County in the 57th Senate District, the #1 maple producing county in New York State, and the #2 state in the nation, but well on our way to #1. Because as Senator Hinchey mentioned, we have the most tappable trees out of the entire nation. New York State produces amazing maple and amazing maple products, from dark maple, light maple, maple candy, maple fluff, maple coffee. I can go on and on. But there is a lot of maple out there, and how sweet it is to have it here in New York State, driving our agricultural economy. Thank you, Mr. President, and I vote aye.
Thank you. Senator Obracher.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's not often I disagree with my colleague on this side of the aisle, but representing the 51st Senate District, right in the heart of maple production, there's no better place to be than in March. And I will say this, with all the products that my colleague expanded upon, he does not have what the 51st Senate District has, which is an adult beverage that is called the Senator Oberrocker, which is, the suspense is killing everybody, which is maple with some habanero, and it's set up as an old-fashioned, kind of like Senator Oberrocker. So with that, Mr. President, I too would like to thank the sponsor for bringing this forward, and let everyone enjoy maple this week. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right. Thank you. Senator May on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I want to thank the sponsor for this resolution as well. And I want to lift up Dutch Hill Maple Farm in my district, which not only goes all out for Maple Weekends, but they were the ones who brought me the idea for the bill we passed a couple years ago that created the opportunity for maple leases on state forest land, which is going to help Senator Oberrocker's district become a statewide leader in this and help move New York into first place in maple production. But I also want to say about Dutch Hill, they do a lot about educating the public on what they do, and they post constantly about how their production is going every year. And this has been a great year for maple production until a couple weeks ago when there was a huge windstorm that brought a tree down on their sugar shack, knocked down a lot of their lines that transport the sap to the Sugar Shack, and they've been digging out from that, and I just want to let them know we're thinking about them. They are soldiering on, but it reminds you that this isn't all sweetness. It's a hard job to produce maple sometimes in New York State, and I really honor everyone who is doing it. I vote aye.
Thank you. The resolution was adopted on March 17. Senator Gianaris.
Next up is previously adopted Resolution 1706 by Senator Fernandez. Please read that resolution's title and call on Senator Fernandez.
Secretary will read.
Resolution 1706 by Senator Fernandez, memorializing Governor Kathy Hochul to proclaim March 26, 2026 as Bangladesh Independence Day in the state of New York.
Senator Fernandez.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is an honor to stand here today to present this resolution, not only for my guest here in the chamber, but for the entire state of New York, to declare in New York we recognize March 26th as Bangladesh Independence Day. Because days like this are about enduring the belief that every nation and every people has the right to determine its own future. In 1971, the people of Bangladesh made that belief real. They stood up for their language, for their culture, for their dignity. When Urdu was imposed as the sole state language, it sparked the Bengali language movement, and the resilience persisted throughout the following decade when in 1998, Bangladesh established International Mother Language Day. I must inform how this is the starting point of the fight for perseverance and pride in a nation's mother language. Today, we have nations still preserving their indigenous language, and it is the Bangladesh community that started that movement worldwide to make sure that you can always have the right to speak the language your mother instilled upon you. Bangladesh fought hard to maintain their sovereignty. When they were met with opposition, of basic rights, out of that struggle emerged our freedom fighters. Freedom fighters that to this day stand proud, resilient, and forward-looking, and are in this room today. And here in New York, the story continues, because tens of thousands of Bangladesh New Yorkers carry that same spirit with them. And in my district in particular, the great 34th Senatorial District, we have in the heart of Parkchester, the Bronx, a vibrant, bustling Bangladesh community, officially named Bangla Bazaar, thanks to leaders before me. Community leaders, small businesses, organizations work together here to bring a sense of home to the neighborhood, one that values closeness and partnership, values all neighbors can relate to. Its venues, restaurants, businesses have created spaces for local gatherings and celebration, while nearby schools like PS 106 and 127th have opened their doors and accommodated to the diverse community, to hosting events like the community iftar that we've done recently. Organizations that support the arts, preserve dance, music, culture, heritage, history, teaching this to our children because we know how important it is for our children to know where we came from so they can go in the better direction. We have organizations that allow language access and translation to make sure that all members of this community are aware and receiving every support system available to us. The Bronx supports families through resource and information and food and every which way you can imagine. And to the many non-for-profits that continue to support entrepreneurs, seniors, families, we thank you for being an example to what we all should be doing for our communities. Together, we ensure that Bangla Bazaar remains a place where culture not only is preserved but proudly celebrated. And that goes far beyond Bangla Bazaar. It goes from every borough in New York City, because I know all of my colleagues can speak proudly about their communities. They remind us, today, we welcome the members of the Bangladesh community from the Bronx to here in Albany, and I hope we can take a moment to pause and recognize their strength, their perseverance, and their diligence, and their commitment to their culture, pride, and contributions to New York. They remind us that the story of New York has always been a story of people who come here, who hold on to who they are, and find a way to build something new. That's what makes moments like this so important. So happy Independence Day to my Bangladesh brothers and sisters from your Afa, Damnubar, and thank you so much for this honor. May everyone please join me in welcoming my guest here celebrating this day.
Thank you, Senator Fay. Lisa. Senator, we will recognize Senator Fay on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to join my colleague here in recognizing Bangladesh Independence Day as well, which I know will be observed later this week on March 26th. It is the birth of a nation after a powerful struggle for freedom, identity, and self-determination. It was quite a conflict that cost millions of lives, but through that is a nation that has been defined by resilience, courage, and democratic hope has emerged from that. And today, I am particularly proud to recognize Dr. Mohammed Kabir of Delmar, if he would rise in the chamber. Thank you, Dr. Kabir. He is a respected and celebrated member of our community here locally, and certainly helps reflect the enduring legacy of the Bangladesh's independence. He has chosen to serve his community here and dedicated his entire career to helping U.S. veterans at the VA. Now close to 80, Dr. Kabir continues to work part-time to care for individuals who are grappling with addiction. Beyond his work in healthcare, however, Dr. Kabir has also been integral to his community as chairman of the Bangladeshi American Foundation of Albany, BAFA. It is a cultural nonprofit focused on honoring the history and undertaking important fundraising projects, including most recently establishing a foundation in memory of another Bangladeshi activist, Ahmed Rafiq, who passed away just last year, another revered figure and civil rights leader, scholar, and more, who dedicated his life to peaceful advocacy for the Bangla language, sovereignty, and the dignity of the Bangladeshi people. This is so much a story of democracy, the right to speak freely and to determine one's future. As we honor the sacrifices of 1971 and celebrate the independence of Bangladesh, I am truly honored to give the example of Dr. Mohammed Kabir's extraordinary work and legacy in paying that forward. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Savitsky, on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Senator Fernandez, for introducing this resolution, and thank you for talking about their many contributions, as well as the history and the tradition that they bring. And you mentioned the freedom fighters. I represent a district in Queens County, and we have a lot of people who originally came from Bangladesh living in Queens County. But you notice Senator Fernandez from the Bronx, Senator Fahey from the Capital District, I'm from Queens, and the Bangladesh community has made a remarkable imprint of progress, of being part of the community throughout the state. I am particularly proud when the district lines changed 3 years ago and I began to meet more people from the Bangladesh community. I realized how welcoming they are, how much they care about their community. And in fact, about 10 days ago, I was happy to host an iftar event for members of the Bangladesh community in Queens. And in fact, in January, we have a New York State Supreme Court Justice born in Bangladesh, came here when she was relatively young, but her father was a freedom fighter. And that, I think, just adds adds another dimension to the experiences that Judge Syed has brought to the Supreme Court of the state in Queens County. So I thank you, and I welcome our friends and neighbors from the Bronx, and we will have something for the Queens people when they come here too. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Myrie.
Thank you, and thank you to Senator Fernandez for introducing this resolution. I'm going to add to the geographical diversity in honoring our Bangladeshi community today. I have the honor of representing Kensington in Brooklyn, and it has been really joy and pride associated with representing this community in the state Senate. Much like my own family, much like many of the families that I represent, this community has come here for economic opportunity, for hope, to provide and protect their neighbors. So on this day, we just want to say that we see you, we appreciate you, we celebrate with you, whether you're on, in my district, Church Avenue, McDonald Avenue, Coney Island Avenue. This is a community that Brooklyn would not be the same without, so thank you for everything that you do. Happy Independence Day.
Thank you. Senator Bailey on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. Que Manacho. These are things that I learned from my good friend, Senator Sepulveda, and as I always like to say, when I was first running for election, the first news station to interview me was not News 12, it was not BronxNet, it was not ABC. I still can't get on ABC. It was not CNN, it was Time TV, a Bangla-speaking community television show. So I want to make sure I reaffirm that commitment always. I think it's important to continue to tell that story about how the Bangladeshi community is so diverse, and not just thought, but in jobs. And in speaking of jobs, Mr. President, a great Bangladeshi American lost his life recently. Detective Didarul Islam, a Bangladeshi officer representing my district, my home precinct, the 47th precinct. And he died with honor, representing this country and serving this country that he loved. And so you can be Bangladeshi and be anything in the world, but the thing that you are the most is that you are protectors of your own, and you are protectors of this great country. And for that reason and so many more, I thank you for all that you do. Don't abide. I vote aye on the resolution, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Comrie on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank Senator Fernandez and Senator Sepulveda for making sure that this day is memorialized in a yearly event in our Senate. It's great to see the folks from the Bronx. I wish we could get the folks from Queens to be here at the same time. We have to work on that for next year, hopefully, because the Bangladesh community, as you've heard, is thriving. It's growing throughout the state. It's growing in respect. It's growing in focus, and it's growing in their ability and understanding that they want to be part of government in a major way. I'm proud to say that I've worked with the Bangladesh community since before I got elected. I elected the first Bangladesh member to the school board to serve with me, Moshe Alam, back when I first served on the school board in Queens. He ran then against Senator, I'm blanking on his name, Padavan. He actually won over 45% of the vote when he ran, the first Bangladesh American to run for state senate in New York, and been working with that community for many years. I just wanted to also note that I had the honor of traveling to Bangladesh in 2018 with Senator Sepulveda and with some other members to see the beauty of the country, to be scared when I was in the middle of the city with no traffic lights and all the traffic that was happening, but to see the beauty of the country, to travel to Sylhet, to travel to where they make the tea, where the manufacturing areas were, to travel throughout the country and to see the resilience and focus of people, to understand that we are all one people trying to make sure that our children do better. I want to congratulate everyone for coming today, and also note the fact that the Bangladesh community will continue to stay strong because there's a focus and purpose in the community that we all need to admire. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Comrie. Senator Sepulveda on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. New York Senate Apnake Shagatom. Today I rise with great pride to recognize Independence Day, a date that symbolizes courage and determination of a people who fought for their freedom and their right to self-determination. This commemoration not only honors the history of a nation, but also celebrates the universal values of democracy, human dignity, and hope that unite our communities here in the great state of New York. In the same spirit of recognition and respect, I want to thank Senator Fernandez for introducing this resolution. This important initiative represents far more than a ceremonial gesture. It constitutes an institutional acknowledgement of the positive impact, the valuable contributions of the Bangladeshi community to the economic, social, and cultural development of our state. At one point, I represented the largest Bangladeshi community in the Bronx. Senator Fernandez now has that honor. During the years, I've developed such close relationships and friendships with that community. In fact, when I first ran for office in 2010, it was the Bangladeshi community that gave me the first endorsement that I ever received, and we've maintained a very close relationship since then. As Senator Comrie indicated, in 2018, I took about 5 senators with me to Bangladesh and just met and went to an incredible country with incredible members and met incredible people with an incredible experience. Our city is home to one of the most diverse populations in the world that has more than 100,000 people of Bangladesh origin that live here, making it the largest Bangladeshi community in the United States. In recent decades, the population has experienced extraordinary growth, making it one of the fastest growing immigrant groups in the metropolis. This vibrant population has established strong roots in the neighborhoods across Bronx, Queens, and Brooklyn, where one area is proudly known as Little Bangladesh. It is a young, hardworking, and entrepreneurial community that has shown exemplary commitment to economic and social progress, particularly through the development of small businesses and essential services. Today, we recognize Bangladesh Independence Day. I reaffirm my commitment to continue supporting and celebrating this extraordinary community whose work, culture, and entrepreneurial spirit help build a stronger, fairer, and more inclusive New Yorker for all. May this recognition serve as a testament to our respect and gratitude for all that they contribute to our state. Abnade Shobaiki Donobad.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Ramos, on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. I know the Bangladeshi diaspora is all over New York now, but there's only one Bangladesh street, and that's in Jackson Heights, Queens. So as the proud state senator for my hometown, I, of course, also want to join the celebration of our Bangladeshi community, a creative community, an entrepreneurial community, a very hardworking community. And as always, as every year, I get to proclaim my love and say, Ami Bangladesh ke bhalobashi. It is incredible. It is incredible to see how our Bangladeshi community has grown, how lucky we are to still have so many freedom fighters among us to share those stories and to also be able to recognize the plight of the Bangladeshi community to fight and keep their mother language. Bangla is a beautiful language. Bangla ekti shandur bata. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the opportunity to Senator Fernandez, to our leader, Andrea Stewart-Cousins, for making today possible so that we can continue to celebrate the diverse vibrancy of our state. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Ramos. Senator Skoufis.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I too want to thank Senator Fernandez for this wonderful and important resolution, and want to echo something that Senator Stavisky had noted. I too was fortunate enough to visit Bangladesh several years ago with a number of colleagues, and one of the qualities that struck me most was how caring and welcoming the population is there, and certainly the population, the community is here in New York. You know, and we live in very, obviously, politically divisive times. There are some places in this country where a small number, a small handful of refugees sets off a firestorm in some communities in our country. And that is a separate debate, but the reason why I bring it up is because Bangladesh hosts 1.2 million Myanmar Rohingya refugees who faced ethnic cleansing from just across their border. Let me say that again, 1.2 million refugees. And certainly there are challenges with those refugee camps and the circumstances, but the reason why those over 1 million individuals who were being otherwise slaughtered back in their home crossed into Bangladesh, and that border, by the way, is minuscule There are much larger borders with India, with China, with Thailand, with Laos. They came and they went to Bangladesh because the Bangladeshis are caring and welcoming and loving people. And so I thank you all for your contributions here in New York. I saw the same abroad, and thank you again, Senator Fernandez, for the resolution.
Thank you, Senator Skoufis. Senator Scarcella-Stanton.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Senator Fernandez, for introducing this resolution. Happy Independence Day. Thank you so much for being here. And in the spirit of making sure every borough is represented, I have a huge Bangladeshi population, both in the Staten Island portion of my district and on the southern Brooklyn portion of my district, especially in Brighton Beach. And I wanted to echo what my colleague said. The Bangladeshi community is some of the most warm, caring, compassionate, and empathetic people that I personally have the privilege of representing. So it is an honor to have you here today in the New York State Senate. We love the Bangladeshi community. You bring so much to our great state. Thank you, and I proudly vote aye.
Senator Chain on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I would like to welcome our Bangladeshi community to Albany, to the Senate floor. As the neighboring senator to Senator Myrie, I also have a part of Kensington. Not only that, but I also served as a NYPD patrol supervisor in the neighborhood of Kensington in the 6th precinct for 3 years. And working closely with the Bangladeshi community, I have learned a lot about the culture. So much has been said today about Bangladesh and the Bangladeshis and their strive and achievements. But one thing we left out is Bangladesh is a rising world power in manufacturing. And that's because of a country that is together, its resilience, its togetherness, its hard work, and congratulations on your Independence Day, and welcome to Albany.
Thank you, Senator Liu, on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't know what there is left to be said, but clearly, even though we have a delegation primarily from the Bronx, led by one of their noble elder statesmen, Abdul Shahid, I want to say clearly that the Bangladeshi diaspora extends clearly to Queens, Brooklyn, Staten Island, even Manhattan, here in the capital region and other parts of the state of New York. And their presence, the Bangladeshi American community, only makes the great state of New York even greater. I too was also honored to join the delegation a number of years ago to Bangladesh. Incredible memories there, but the most vivid are the clear illustration of that nation's natural resources, as well as its human capital and intellectual capital, much of which they have brought here to New York to invigorate our own economy and our own state. So, Mr. President, thank you very much, and I vote in favor of this resolution.
Thank you. To our Bangladeshi community and the freedom fighters here in the chamber, happy Independence Day. I welcome you on behalf of the Senate, and we extend to you all the privileges and courtesies of the House. Please all rise and be recognized. Resolution was adopted on March 10th. Senator Gianaris.
Let's move on to previously adopted resolution 1300 by Senator Helming. Read its title and recognize Senator Helming, please.
Secretary will read.
Resolution 1300 by Senator Helming congratulating the York Middle High School girls varsity volleyball team upon the occasion of winning the New York State Public High School Athletic Association Class D State Championship.
Senator Helming.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's my honor this afternoon to welcome the Class D New York State champion York Golden Knights girls volleyball team to this chamber. Third time's the charm. For the York Golden Knights, that wasn't just a saying, it became their mindset after falling short in the sectionals 2 years in a row. When the team returned to sectionals for a third time, they were more determined, more focused, and ready. And this time, they didn't just win, they made history. They defeated the defending state champions in 3 straight sets to capture the first state title in school history. What makes this victory even more sweeter is a journey behind it. After graduating 9 seniors and returning just 2 starters, this was to be a rebuilding year. With only 1 senior on the roster, these young women proved that leadership is not defined by age or experience. Mr. President, can I have a little order, please? Thank you. It's defined by showing up, putting in the work, and supporting one another every single day. This team built a bond that extended far beyond the court. They shared dinners the night before games. In the locker rooms, they got ready together, listening to their favorite pump-up songs. I understand the team's favorite songs included Golden and Soda Pop from K-pop Demon Hunters. These songs brought the team a source of energy, they helped build confidence, and they reminded the team that their moment to shine was right in front of them. The girls also carried with them the words of one of their assistant coaches, a former head coach whose message became a part of the program's tradition. Every night before a game, the girls shared, "Sleep well, dream big, and on game day, you're a winner." This message passed down over time is one that has shaped not just a team, but a championship culture, and they believed in it. Today, I'm proud to recognize these outstanding student athletes, and I'd ask that you please rise when I call your name. Madalena, Jordan, Bailey, Aaron, JJ, Bree, Fiona, Madison, Kylie, Lee, Sylviana, and Cece. They're led by head coach Caitlin Kolb, along with assistant coaches Michaela Johnson, Lonnie Carroll, Beth Niedermeyer, and Stephen Carroll. Coaches who have built not just a championship team, but strong, confident young leaders. I also want to recognize Athletic Director Kurt Schneider, Principal Charlie Passarell, and Transportation Coordinator Extraordinaire Larry Holbrook for helping make it possible for the team to be with us today. Mr. President, this team has proved that sometimes it truly is the third time that's the charm. Congratulations, girls, on a historic and unforgettable season. Mr. President, I vote yes on the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Helming. And to our guests, the state champs, I welcome you on behalf of the Senate, and we extend to you all the privileges and courtesies of the House. Please rise again so that we may properly recognize you. The resolution was adopted on March 17th. Senator Gianaris.
Let's keep Senator Helming up on her feet by taking up previously adopted Resolution 1757 by her and Senator Borrello. Read its title and recognize our 2 colleagues, please.
Secretary will read.
Senate Resolution 1757 by Senator Helming, congratulating the Pavilion York Air Rifle Team upon the occasion of winning the New York State Rifle Invitational Championship in the 3-position event.
Senator Helming on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today, I'm also proud to recognize the Pavilion York Air Rifle Team as the 2026 New York State Rifle Invitational Champions in the 3-position event. In the spirit of March Madness, this team delivered a true Cinderella season, rising from very humble beginnings to reigning state champions. Their story is one of perseverance, grit, and teamwork. Just a few years ago, this team was practicing with borrowed rifles, pieced together equipment, and they didn't even have uniforms. They never won a single match, but they stayed committed, they stayed focused, and so did their head coach, Jenny Harkins. With her leadership, And with the support of coaches Nate Paddock, Dylan Hirsch, and Tom Green, along with Jeff Beardsley, the program was rebuilt and strengthened. Through the support of their schools, community partners, and organizations like Whitetails Unlimited, these athletes gained the equipment and the resources that they needed to succeed. And what followed, Mr. President, was absolutely remarkable. They went from never winning a match to an undefeated season, capturing sectional titles, and ultimately becoming New York State champions. Along the way, they created unforgettable moments. I'd like to recognize each of the outstanding members of this champion team. If you please rise when I read your name. Cooper, Tyler, Myra, Emily, Jaden, Jesse, Morgan, Levi, and Brooke. And coaches, if you'd rise as well. I wanted to mention that at the state competition, Tyler Bryan and Emily Harwood each achieved their first perfect prone targets. And York Jr. Myra Beardsley earned top individual honors as the overall state champion and will soon be competing in the Junior Olympics. This team represents what can happen when hard work meets opportunity. Their story is a great reminder that success is not reserved for the biggest programs or the most established teams. It belongs to those who show up, put in the work, support each other, and never stop believing. It's a pleasure to recognize the Pavilion York Air Rifle team, their coaches, and all who supported them along the way. Congratulations, state champions, on a remarkable and inspiring season. Mr. President, I vote yes on the resolution.
Thank you, Senator Helming. Senator Barilla on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, I want to join Senator Helming in thanking you for being here today and coming all the way to Albany. And just like the great partnership that Senator Helming and I have, what a great partnership between Pavilion and York, and what great results. To go from never having won a single match to capturing the state championship, that is a story of resilience. Never giving up, working hard, believing in yourselves. That is an amazing story. It's really the story of the regions that we represent. Tough, resilient people that did a great job. Fantastic to have you here. Fantastic to have you to celebrate this. It just goes beyond. I mean, you talk about this is not only a great season, but historic, rising all the way to the state championships, being one of one. Two schools coming together and being one outstanding team. That speaks volumes. Congratulations. We're happy to have you here. Mr. President, please welcome this team and give them all the privileges and courtesies of the House.
To our state champs, I welcome you on behalf of the Senate when we extend to you the privileges and courtesies of the House, and we recognize your success. The resolution was adopted on March 17th. Senator Gianaris.
Okay, Mr. President, let's move on to previously adopted Resolution 1629 by Senator Walczyk. Read its title and gaze with awe upon Senator Walczyk as he discusses this resolution. His very stylish
Secretary will
jacket that he will tell us about, I'm sure.
Senate Resolution 1629 by Senator Walczyk, memorializing Governor Kathy Hochul to proclaim April 6, 2026 as Tartan Day in the state of New York.
Senator Walczyk on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President, and happy Tartan Day. Scottish independence was declared on April 6th in 1320 at Arbroath. In Scotland, tartans are worn to represent clans, families, regions. In the United States, half of the Declaration of Independence signers were Scottish. 9 of 13 governors of our first states were Scottish. The Scottish economist Adam Smith wrote Wealth of Nations in 1776, the same year this nation was founded. And Scotland is literally woven into the fabric of our society. So we honor their fabric with this Tartan Day resolution. Now, the tartan that I'm wearing today is the St. Lawrence tartan. There's been 2 tartans that were commissioned in the United States, both actually in my Senate district. And this St. Lawrence tartan was designed by Miss Helen Cobb. In 1961, it was officially registered with Scottish tartans. The blue represents the St. Lawrence River. The red represents the sunset over the Thousand Islands. The green represents the hardy cedar trees that line the St. Lawrence River Valley. And the subtle black and white hints show the white caps over the St. Lawrence River that is often smooth, but sometimes choppy. Culture, clothing, our founding, and our economics, tartan tells the story not just of Scotland, but also of the founding of this nation. It evokes pride in history. So to you, Mr. President, and to all of my colleagues, happy Tartan Day to you. I vote aye.
Thank you, Senator. The resolution was adopted on February 25th. Senator Gineris.
I actually enjoyed that, Senator Walsik. Thank you. The sponsors of all today's resolutions would like to open them for co-sponsorship, please.
Resolutions are open for co-sponsorship. Should you choose not to be a co-sponsor, please notify the desk. Senator Gineris.
Please take up the calendar.
The Secretary will read.
Calendar number 108, Senate Print 5982 by Senator Harkam, an act to amend the Environmental Conservation Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect on the 30th day and shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, or Stuart Cuddins, Zellner.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 108, voted in the negative are Senators Skoufis, Walzik, and White. Ayes 57, nays 3.
Bills passed.
Calendar number 183, Senate Print 5600 by Senator May, an act to amend the personal property law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, or Stuart Cuddins, Zellner.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 183, voted in the negative, Senator Walzik. Ayes 59, nays 1.
Bills passed.
Calendar number 213, Senate Print 1239F by Senator Kavanaugh.
Read the
an
last
act
section.
to amend the Agriculture and Markets Law.
Read the last section.
Section 8, this act shall take effect 1 year after it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, or Stuart Cuddins, Zellner.
Announce the results.
Ayes 60.
Bills passed.
Calendar number 219, Senate Print 4964 by Senator Bailey, an act to amend the insurance law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, or Stuart Cuddins, Zellner.
Announce the results.
Ayes 60.
Bills passed.
Calendar number 227, Senate Print 2482 by Senator Parker, an act to amend the Public Authorities Law.
Laid aside.
Calendar number 338, Senate Print 1787 by Senator Hinchy, an act to amend the state law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, or Stuart Cuddins, Zellner.
Announce the results.
Ayes 60.
Bills passed.
Calendar number 343, Senate Print 2640 by Senator Fernandez, an act to amend the executive law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, or Stuart Cuddins, Zellner.
Announce the results.
Ayes 60.
Bills passed.
Calendar number 372, Senate Print 2499 by Senator Gernardez, an act to amend the Workers' Compensation Law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, or Stuart Cuddins, Zellner.
Announce results.
In relation to calendar 372, voted in the negative are Senators Borrello, Chan, Gallivan, Griffo, Helming, Lanza, Murray, Ort, Walzik, and White. Ayes 50, nays 10.
Bills passed.
Calendar number 443, Senate Print 5183B by Senator Jackson, an act to amend the election law.
Read the last section.
Section 4, this act shall take effect 1 year after it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, or Stuart Cuddins, Zellner.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 443, voted in the negative, Senator Walzik. Ayes 59, nays 1.
Bills passed.
Calendar number 480, Senate Print 3231 by Senator Bailey, concurrent resolution of the Senate and Assembly proposing an amendment to Section 1 of Article 2 of the Constitution.
Read the last section. Sorry. Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, or Stuart Cuddins, Zellner.
Senator Bailey on the.
Thank you, Mr. President. 21 states in Washington, D.C., Wyoming in caucuses all allow for this to take place. We go around our districts and we lament the fact that young people are not getting involved. Why don't the young people of this great state and country care? Yet, I see hands indicating that we don't want this level of participation. It's not a backdoor party registration trick. This is something for everybody. And it simply just says this. If you have the not so great benefit of having a late birthday like somebody like me in August, and if there's a primary that happens, and if you'll be 18 by the time there's a general, if you're 17, you can vote in the primary. You can pre-register to vote already in this state, Mr. President, if you're 17 years old. You can drive, you can pay taxes, you can work up to 28 hours a week. But if you have the misfortune of having a birthday after the primary, then you can't be a part of choosing your party's nominee. I shudder to think how we can credibly say we want people to participate, but we don't want to support this type of what I believe to be common sense legislation. Common sense legislation supported by the great students from Merrimack High School, so I want to thank by name Max, Mark, Laura, and Henry for coming up, and their great teacher, Joel DeBerti, for bringing up a cohort of students to speak about how important this was. I want to make sure I recognize my colleague in the Assembly, Neely Rosick, for this important bill, being my sponsor over there. And I'm hopeful that civically minded individuals, that one day, even if we don't vote for this, that you become the beneficiaries of this. That 17-year-olds in your districts get an opportunity to be able to vote in a primary when they'll be 18 in the same year. Can't fault their parents for having a late birthday. For that reason, I vote aye, Mr. President.
Senator Bailey will be recorded in the affirmative. Senator Merritt to explain her vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to commend my colleague here, Senator Bailey, for bringing this bill to the floor. These students who came from my district and persuaded Senator Bailey that he should be the prime sponsor of this bill were all young high school students who were absolutely passionate and dogged about getting this bill across the finish line. They want to be able to vote when they know they're going to be able to vote in the general, in the primary, which in so many of our elections is decisive and determines who is going to be the candidate. They were smart about it. They had this fantastic teacher who runs the Okra program at Mamaroneck High School, Joe Liberti, which encourages young people to decide on a civic issue of great importance and then actually get to work on it. And this is what happens when our students are empowered and really have their voices heard. So I want to commend Senator Bailey. He really has run with this bill. We're going to get it across the finish line, and it is going to make a difference in the lives of these young people who want to participate in our democracy. I vote aye.
Senator Merritt will be recorded in the affirmative. Senator Scarcella-Stanton to explain her vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. And thank you, Senator Bailey, for introducing this legislation. I saw these students in the hallway, and that's kind of what got me thinking about it. And I have to say, I think it's a really smart piece of legislation. And on the side of, I chair the Veterans Committee, you are allowed to enlist if you are 17, if you're turning 18 by a certain point. I kind of think this also applies. If we're allowing them to do that, we should allow them to do this. So thank you for this bill, and I proudly vote aye.
Senator Scarcella-Stanton will be recorded in the affirmative. Senator Krueger to explain her vote.
Thank you very much. So it's petitioning time. So I spent the weekend petitioning in my district, and these two young men came by, and I said, "Oh, are you old enough to vote?" And they said, "Well, we're registered, but we won't be 18 until closer to November." I said, "Well, I don't have a primary, but you won't be able to vote in the primary." And they said, "I know, but our assembly seat's open for a primary, so we're pretty irritated about the fact that we're really into this whole voting, and now we can't vote in the primary, and we don't understand what's the big deal." And I had to say, we don't have the right law in the books. And I didn't even know you were bringing this bill to the floor today. And I said, I'm going to go look and see if we can do anything about it. And so then the one was talking, and he goes, and just for the record, I come from a Democratic family. And his friend said, well, actually, I'm a Republican, so we'll cancel each other's votes anyway. And I go, it's still great that you at such young ages are so involved that you understand these issues and have also discovered you can be friends even when you don't agree on politics. And then I said to the Democrat, but I expect you to educate your friend about why he still has plenty of time to change his party. I proudly vote yes.
Senator Krueger will be recorded in the affirmative. Senator Gonzalez to explain her vote.
Thank you so much. I want to thank my colleague, Senator Bailey, for bringing forward this legislation. Voting is the foundation on which we've won every single right in this state. And in this moment, we're seeing our voting rights under attack nationwide. It is so important to see Senator Bailey stepping up and leading in this chamber. And so I want to thank him and echo my colleagues and how essential this is. You know, a few weeks ago, we celebrated the anniversary of Bloody Sunday, and I recounted what happened. So many in the crowd were teenagers. It has been young people who have been fighting for voting rights for generations. And at the very least, we should be allowing them to enter the electoral process as soon as possible and exercise their voices. So I am proudly in support of this and urge my colleagues to support this as well. Thank you.
Senator Gonzalez will be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
In relation to count of 40, voted in the negative are Senators Ashby, Borrello, Councilor Fitzpatrick, Chan, Helming, Matera, Murray, Obarack, O'Mara, or Palumbo, Rhodes, Steck, Tedisco, Walzek, Weber, and White. Also, Senator Griffo. Ayes 43, nays 17.
Bills passed.
Calendar number 545, Senate Print 1191 by Senator Adabo, an act to amend the correction law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Sukkot, and Zellner.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 545, voted in the negative are Senators Borrello, Councilor Fitzpatrick, Chan, Gallivan, Griffo, Helming, Obarack, O'Mara, or Palumbo, Rhodes, Steck, Tedisco, Walzek, Weber, and White. Ayes 44, nays 16.
Bills passed.
Calendar number 555, Senate Print 1816 by Senator Fernandez, an act to amend the public health law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Sukkot, and Zellner.
Announce the results.
Ayes 60.
Bills passed.
Calendar number 561, Senate Print 9388 by Senator Rivera, an act to amend the public health law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect on the 60th day and shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, Zellner.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 561, voted in the negative are Senators Gallivan, Obaracker, Steck, and Walzek. Ayes 56, nays 4.
Bills passed.
Calendar number 562, Senate Print 1057 by Senator Serrano, an act to amend the Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect on the 1st of January.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, Zellner.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 562, voted in the negative, Senator Walzek. Ayes 59, nays 1.
Bills passed. Senator Giannaris, that completes the reading of today's calendar.
Please go to the reading of the controversial calendar.
Secretary will ring the bell. Secretary will read.
Calendar number 227, Senate Print 2482 by Senator Parker, an act to amend the Public Authorities Law.
Senator Lanza, why do you rise?
Mr. President, I believe there's an amendment at the desk. I waive the reading of that amendment and ask that you recognize Senator Borrello.
Thank you, Senator Lanza. Upon review of the amendment in accordance with Rule 6, Section 4B, I rule it non-germane and out of order.
Accordingly, Mr. President, I appeal the ruling of the chair and ask that Senator Borrello be heard on the appeal.
The appeal has been made and recognized. Senator may be heard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to explain why this bill amendment is germane to the bill in chief, because the bill at hand deals with basically giving schools the right to have planning resources for renewable energy, and the amendment that I am offering would actually replace the damaging mandate for electric school buses with a pilot program, a study. Let's study what happens when we put school buses, electric school buses, in urban, suburban, and rural areas. Planning, which is what this bill is about. We want people to be able to plan, because goals without plans have become expensive and dangerous here in New York State. We're now seeing the results of the early adopters, the school districts that have brought these electric school buses in. And what we're finding out, it has been an unmitigated disaster. Perhaps this might work in some urban areas where there are short routes, but it's not working in the rural areas that I represent. One of the first stories we heard this year was the Lakeshore School District, directly adjacent to my Senate district, where they had purchased 20 EV buses. And a lot of fanfare. The governor was lauding this as an amazing achievement that Lakeshore School District had bought these buses. And then what happened? Well, they were getting complaints from parents because the drivers were forced to turn the heat off in the middle of winter in order for the buses to be able to complete their routes. Kids were freezing. Kids that were left stranded out in the cold because the buses broke down. All of a sudden, this grand idea, this virtue signaling mandate, became a danger to our children in the rural areas that I represent. Just last week, we heard from another superintendent that was talking about, again, an early adopter. The tremendous cost. Not only are the buses more expensive, about triple the cost of a diesel or gas school bus, but the cost of operating them now has become untenable. And the superintendent at this school district actually said, I quote, "Transitioning to a full fleet of EV buses would be impractical and frankly impossible, given what we have learned about EV function, cost, and necessary infrastructure to support a larger or full EV bus fleet." So let's stop pretending this is harmless. Let's stop pretending we're doing this for the kids. We're not. We're doing it actually at the expense and sacrifice of our children in order to bow down to the extreme left, the people that truly believe that if we don't do this, that the world is going to come to an end. And we're willing to sacrifice our children on the altar of that ridiculous idea. That's the problem with this. It's time for us to repeal the EV bus mandate, which is what my amendment will do, and replace it with a study so we can understand where it can be used safely, where it can be used affordably, where it can be used effectively, and where it cannot. And where it cannot is almost entirely the areas that I represent and the other rural areas here in New York State. We will not sacrifice our children's safety in order to meet this virtue signaling mandate that will bankrupt our school districts and put our children at risk. So I strongly recommend that if you're concerned about the welfare of our children in schools, that you support this amendment. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. I want to remind the House that the vote is on the procedures of the House and the ruling of the chair. Those in favor of overruling the chair signify by saying aye.
Show of hands.
A show of hands has been requested and so ordered. Announce the results.
Ayes 22.
The ruling of the chair stands and the bill in chief is before the House. Read the last section.
Section 4, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call to roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stoll-Cousins, Zellner.
Senator White to explain her vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to explain my vote today. The bill that's passing in this House today conducts a study for school districts to safely house its own energy source and store energy harnessed, including using battery farms. The fact that we are once again voting to study battery and renewable energy safely means we don't yet have a safe plan. That's why I have a bill which removes the mandate on our schools, requiring that they have an entire electric bus fleet, especially when the dangers are still unknown. Let's repeal the electric bus mandate. I vote aye.
Senator White will be recorded negative. Announce results.
In relation to calendar 227, voted in the negative. Senator Walzek, ayes 59, nays 1.
Amendment. The bill is passed. Senator Generic Stack completes the reading of the controversial calendar.
The business at the desk.
There is no further business at the desk.
Move to adjourn until tomorrow, Tuesday, March 24th at 3 p.m.
On motion, the Senate stands adjourned until Tuesday, March 24th at 3 p.m.